The price of fortune. Mark Duval had always dreamed of breaking into the lucrative world of forestry exploitation. It was his one shot at financial independence, but there was one major obstacle: money. He had none. Desperate, he confided in his childhood friend, Victor Langley, a wealthy businessman. Mark expected a loan, but instead, Victor introduced him to a group of affluent investors who offered him all the capital he needed. No conditions, no interest rates, just a promise that he would pay them back when he could. At the time, it seemed too good to be true. The golden years. Mark's business flourished. He acquired vast tracts of land, built sawmills, and sold timber to major corporations. His wealth multiplied rapidly, and within a few years, he was one of the richest men in the country. His beautiful wife, Linda, and their only daughter, Amelia, lived a life of comfort and luxury. But wealth built on unknown foundations rarely stands firm. One evening, Mark received an invitation from Victor to attend an important meeting. He thought nothing of it; after all, Victor was the one who had helped him secure his fortune. However, the moment he arrived at the secluded estate deep in the woods, his heart dropped. The place had an eerie atmosphere, its air thick with secrecy and an unsettling silence. Inside the grand hall, the same men who had once seemed like benevolent benefactors now sat in shadows. Their leader, an older man with piercing green eyes, spoke in a calm yet chilling voice. "Mark, it's time to settle your debt." Mark nodded, confident that he had enough wealth to pay back every cent. "How much do I owe?" he asked. The leader chuckled. "Money? We have more than enough of that. What we require is your daughter." Mark felt his blood turn cold. "What? No. That's absurd," he shouted, his voice filled with horror. "You entered into an agreement, Mark. You didn't read between the lines. You have no choice." Fighting back fear, Mark stormed out, refusing their demand. That night, he told Linda everything. Shocked and terrified, she packed her bags and fled to another town with Amelia, leaving Mark alone to deal with the nightmare that was now unraveling before him. The decline was swift and merciless. His business began to collapse in ways he could not understand. Investments failed. Contracts were lost. His accounts were mysteriously drained. The banks repossessed his properties. Land, vehicles, factories, everything vanished before his eyes. The last remaining asset was a house in which Linda had taken refuge. The bank moved to seize it. But Linda, determined to fight, refused to leave. She took the matter to court, though deep down, she knew she was going to lose. Desperate, Linda sought the help of a native doctor, a man known for his dark and powerful spells. He provided her with rituals to curse the house, ensuring that whoever took it from her would suffer misfortune. On the day of the final court decision, the bank sent officials, including James Potter, a mid-level bank representative, to ensure the evacuation. As they traveled to the house, Linda received a call from the native doctor. He spoke in their local dialect, warning her not to enter the house fast or the spell would not work. Unbeknownst to Linda, one of the bank officials, Daniel Harper, understood the language. He kept silent but whispered what he had to James. When they arrived, Daniel insisted that Linda enter first. Caught off guard, she hesitated, but before she could object, another bank officer, Roger, who knew nothing of the conversation, rushed inside. The moment he crossed the threshold, Linda followed, realizing her mistake too late. The eviction proceeded without incident. Linda left, the bank took possession, and everything seemed resolved, until days later, when James received an urgent call from Roger. "James. I think I'm dying." His voice was weak, filled with pain and confusion. He explained how, ever since that day, he had been suffering inexplicable illnesses. Every time he went to the restroom, he bled. Doctors found nothing wrong with him. He had lost weight rapidly, growing pale and frail. James, recalling what Daniel had whispered that day, realized the horrifying truth. Roger had fallen victim to Linda's spell. James visited Roger, who was now too weak to move. Desperate, Roger had sought medical and spiritual help, but nothing worked. In his final attempt, he had turned to a local pastor. The pastor prayed over him, performed exorcisms, and after days of relentless prayers, the bleeding stopped. Roger slowly began to recover. James finally told Roger the full story about Linda, about the spell, about what had happened that fateful day at the house. The truth horrified Roger, but at least now he understood the source of his suffering. Meanwhile, Mark, now a broken man, lived in hiding, constantly looking over his shoulder. He knew the secret society would not stop pursuing him. He had refused to pay his debt, and they would never let him escape. Some debts are paid in blood. Then Mark had learned too late that fortune, when given freely, always has a price. Linda, though she had lost the house, had unknowingly set events into motion that revealed the dark forces surrounding their lives. Amelia grew up away from the chaos, never knowing the full story of her father's dealings. As for Mark, he vanished without a trace. Some say he fled the country. Others believe he was taken by the society he had once indebted himself to. One thing was certain, his dream of wealth had turned into a nightmare, one that would haunt anyone who dared to follow in his footsteps.